My favorite ex-vegan, Alex O'Connor, has finally broken his vegan vow of silence. When he last spoke about veganism, I disagreed with almost everything he said, but this time I actually think he's right. Sort of. In this video, we're going over what he said, where he's right, and where he went wrong. At the end, I'll cover the bodybuilding stuff with a unique argument that I haven't heard anyone else make. Let's start with what happened. Alex recently appeared on Trigonometry, where the hosts had questions about his ex-vegan journey.
Journey.
They weren't very nice to vegans.
It's gonna sound like a hack joke. It's rare I meet a vegan who looks well. Do you think veganism, do you think it's almost akin to a religion?
Rare that you meet a vegan who looks well. This just, like, what is the word? Like, the way you, like, you have, like, a bias set there already. Is it motivated reasoning? Is that what I'm thinking of? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? There's so many vegan fitness people. There's so many fit vegans. They are poisoning the well, yeah. They are also poisoning the well. Yo, Stallion, how are you?
And they were trying to bait Alex into saying something negative about veganism, which he didn't do, so I really respect him for that.
Because the vegan movement says the problem is just that
Yeah, motivated reasoning, meat goggles. Yes, the meat goggles are on.
we don't have enough people on board yet. And one day there's going to be a critical mass and then suddenly everyone's going to be vegan. And we won't even need to worry about regulation of the animal, farming industry because it just won't exist anymore. I'm not so optimistic that that's the case. However, what that means, or I shouldn't say however, what that means is that we're going to need to solve the problem in another way. And I think there has to be top-down regulation.
Alex said his main issue with veganism is that focusing only on demand is never going to work. And this is where I absolutely 100% agree with him. Think of it in terms of car-centric infrastructure, which I staunchly oppose. I hate the fact that North American cities are so car-dependent, and when I want to go somewhere, I either have to drive, make my life really inconvenient, or risk my life on a bicycle. In theory, I could get rid of my car, rely only on transit and cycling, and remove myself from this car-centric system. The other thing I could do is join local transit and cycling advocacy groups. We can then work together with the city to tackle car-centric infrastructure and create safer cycling and better transit options. Which method would be more effective at creating societal change? To me,
The public transport in, like, the US seems like it's not a thing, which is really weird because in the UK we have, like, buses and everything like that. We have, like, a lot of buses. Yo, Stitch!
the answer is obvious. I should join my local Strong Towns group, so that's exactly what I did. Removing yourself from a system will not overthrow that same system, especially when that system is large and propped up by other systems that you can't control. The vegan movement has spent decades trying to get people—
Yeah, would just like to announce that I'm no longer convinced of the effectiveness of the individual-focused boycott to ending serial killing. Yeah, genuinely, like, just imagine, like, human murder is rampant. It's just something that's not even, you don't get in legal trouble or anything like that for it. There's no real social pressure if you do it. There's a few people who are against it. They don't do it. Imagine just, like, principally being like, look, I can't really see the effects of my choices, so I'm just going to continue serial killing. Or to make it more analogous to what we do to animals in animal agriculture, I'm just going to pay hitmen to kill people. Like, I'm not convinced that my effect, like, my impact will have any lasting effect on anything. So I'm just going to, like, carry on. It just...
go vegan, and it may be working in some countries, but it's just not enough. Over 100 billion animals are bred and slaughtered every year, and the number keeps going up. Even if we turn millions of people vegan, it's not going to be enough to make a dent in animal agriculture. I'm not saying one person going vegan doesn't—
Wait, if we turn 1 million people vegan, it's not going to make a dent? I'm not convinced of that. I'm not sure of that. If we turned 1 million people vegan right now, I think it would make a dent. Like, but maybe the argument is that this is assuming these people are also going to be quite vocal. They're going to be, like, pushing for other things. They're going to be doing their like extra as well as being vegan. But I think if 1 million people just went vegan right now, it would have a dent, at least.
Doesn't make a difference because it absolutely does. Just like my city streets.
Wait, let me go back. Sorry.
Millions of people vegan, it's not going to be enough to make a dent in animal agriculture. I'm not saying one person going vegan doesn't make a difference because it absolutely does.
Yeah.
Just like my city streets would be safer.
So it would make a dent. Maybe I'm just getting like caught up on the wording.
Without me driving. I'm not a very good driver. But I am saying that people going vegan is not enough of a difference to get us to where we want to go. Veganism is the end state that we want for society, but it's not the path that's going to get us there. Veganism is the goal, but not the solution.
I have to say that I've grown a lot more convinced that the way to solve this problem has to be top-down regulation.
Alex recommends a top-down governmental approach, and this is where our opinions start to diverge. I'm staunchly against a top-down approach for a couple of reasons. The first comes from historic evidence. We already have government regulations for how the meat industry should operate. I'm not saying these regulations are perfect or even mildly acceptable because there's horrific stuff that's standard and legal that happens to animals used for food, but I am saying that even if the regulations were excellent, it wouldn't matter because they wouldn't follow them anyway. Animal advocates have hours upon hours.
Yeah, they wouldn't follow them. And I literally, it's difficult because I cannot see regulations that would actually be like, okay, if we're exploiting and killing animals, like how can there be a regulation that's okay?
Of footage of regulations being ignored. One example is Sunrise Farms in California. They're legally required.
Veganism is the goal, but not the solution. I think she's saying veganism is the end point, but people just going vegan isn't going to get us to a vegan world. I think that's what she's saying.
To be cage-free, but DXC's investigation showed hens trapped in...
What top-down approach, what does he think government would care? Government supports it. Yeah, and what would the government do? Like, if anything, they would mandate that people go vegan. Like, what is the government actually going to do to have a tangible effect on animals except, I don't know, meat tax, like animal product tax, like anything that's come from an animal, like tax it to the high heavens. So then the cheapest foods are all vegan. Like maybe something like that would have a tangible effect because people are going to buy the cheapest products. Or they'd end up like banning flesh and secretions, and it would have the same effect that someone would have if they just went vegan. But I just don't see them doing that. I see them taxing. I don't see them banning.
In cages. And when they reported it to the authorities, what happened? Did the police arrest the farm for committing animal cruelty? Absolutely not. They persecuted the activists and put them into jail. We cannot rely on the government to regulate the meat industry. It's too late. They both have too much power, and their power works together to keep the profits high and the animal welfare concerns silenced. The other reason I'm against a top-down approach is because people would be against it. One study from the Sentience Institute found that 97% of people agreed with this statement. Whether to eat animals or be vegetarian is a personal choice, and nobody has the right to tell me which one they think I should do. Alex said the government could regulate in a way that didn't seem like it was trying to control us, but I just don't see that happening. If you're familiar with Prohibition in the United States, then you can understand why banning meat would not be effective. When we banned alcohol in the US, only about half the population was on board. Because there wasn't enough public support, people broke the law and eventually overturned it. This is why top-down regulation will not work unless the majority of people support it. Now, I know what you're thinking. If we can't rely on the government and we can't change society at the level of demand, then what the fuck are we supposed to do? Instead of the top-down approach, we're advocating for the opposite, a bottom-up revolution. That same Sentience Institute survey had a few other questions, and two of them are very interesting. 49% of US adults support a ban on factory farming, and 47% support a ban on slaughterhouses. That means the same exact group of people, where 97% of them said that eating meat is a personal choice, about half of them would support a ban on factory farming. When I say bottom-up revolution, I'm not talking about overthrowing the government or some socialist revolution. Revolution, although that could be kind of cool. But there is a unique way to change our laws in the United States. If you're familiar with DXE and pro-animal future, then you already know I'm talking about ballot initiatives. Basically, you can create laws, put them on the ballot, and then people can vote for them in the next election. In the past, pro-animal legislation has done surprisingly well when people can vote on it. Most people are deeply uncomfortable with the way animals are treated for food, but they're too lazy to actually change their behavior. By providing people with pro-animal ballot initiatives, we can tell them, yes, you can make the world better for animals just by checking a little box. We did some voter outreach in Denver this past week, and all these meat eaters were incredibly supportive of a ban on slaughterhouses. They don't want to change their lifestyle, but they are willing to change the system to make it better for animals.
It's so weird. That just perplexes me.
Going directly to the voters, we avoid the issue of government control because the people are actually the ones voting on these laws. Our immediate goal is to ban slaughter in Denver, but we want to work up to statewide factory farm bans within the next decade. Vegans haven't given people enough options to help animals. The only option we've given them is to go vegan. Let's take responsibility for animal liberation and stop waiting for meat eaters to change and start getting these laws on the ballots. Now I want to talk about this weird bodybuilding.
It'd be interesting to see how that goes in Denver, and if it goes really well, then like people will follow suit, right?
Argument that keeps cropping up. I first heard this argument from Rationality Rules, and now Alex is repeating it, and by the sound of it, it's clear that neither of them understands bodybuilding nor crop deaths. Let's start with bodybuilding. You don't bulk all the time. You bulk, and then you cut, and then sometimes you maintain. I understand that Alex isn't using this argument to say that vegan bodybuilding is immoral. He was using it to say that creating unnecessary suffering toward animals isn't always immoral. But I'm just not convinced that crop deaths are as big of a problem as people say.
Are you not unnecessary?
Well, yeah, the data on it is just like, you have one that was riddled and ruined by like a mouse plague that happened. What is it? Oh, it's on the top of my. It's on the tip of my tongue. Oh, does anyone know the study? It's completely the Fisher. No, it's not the Fisher. The Omar Vegan Runs just super chatted. Thank you so much for the super chat. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for supporting the channel. That is very based of you. Is that a banana? The Archer. Thank you. The Archer study. I would have never have got there. I would have sat here for 30 minutes and then given up. Is that going to come through? I don't know. We'll carry on. It might come through. Let's carry on.
Hurting animals by requiring a greater number of crop deaths.
First of all,
Did it? Damn it. I timed it terribly. Salad's in the chat.
these animals can run away. And I saw this Reddit thread with a bunch of farmers, and they were saying that they had never caught a small animal in any of their crop machines. This chart here has estimates, and you can see that the numbers are low. If someone consumes an extra 200 calories per day, that's about 73,000 calories per year. That means they're accidentally killing one animal about every 7 years if these numbers are correct. To me, intention does matter. These animals are not bred into existence just to be killed. Their lives are short and dangerous. But like I said, I don't think we should take any of these arguments seriously unless we had compelling research that crop...
Intention does matter legally and morally. Like, that's why we have different consequences for people who like accidentally hit someone with a car versus intentionally drive into them. These things do matter. They don't really matter to the victims. I think this is why... I guess it can sometimes matter to the victim if they are someone who can be spoken to about it. But that's why it can cause some kind of like, oh no, that I don't agree with that philosophy. But for a lot of people, intention does matter. So some would claim that intentions are all that matters. Yeah, see, I'm both. I'm intentions and consequence. Yeah.
Crop deaths were this massive problem everyone was making it out to be. Also, one argument that I haven't heard people make is that we do have compelling evidence that restricting your calories increases your lifespan. That's why Brian Johnson, the anti-aging billionaire vampire, eats at a 25% caloric deficit every day. Because he's eating fewer calories, he'll be responsible for fewer crop deaths. But it could add a few extra years to his life where he is alive and eating and creating more crop deaths. So doesn't that cancel out the caloric deficit? To me, it's all too vague to really know what the best answer is. I think a great starting point is to eliminate animal agriculture, which will drastically reduce the number of crops that we need to grow in the first place.
I'm still pissed at Rationality Rules for saying Cosmic Skeptic did more for the animals than we ever will. Fuck off, RR. Yeah, I got that on a video I did about Cosmic Skeptic on my other channel. Someone was just like, he's done more for the animal rights movement than you ever will. And it's just like, what's the point of saying that? Because you can't even prove it. Like, it could be the case he's actually done a net negative for it. It could well be the case, you don't know.
Then once we do that, we can focus on making a crop production system that's better for these animals, which once again, I don't really think is that big of a problem in the first place. So Alex was right about some stuff, he was wrong about some stuff. What do you think? Am I totally off base here? Do you think that we should continue to focus only on consumer demand? Do you think we should change the system over individuals? Let me know down.
I think just all of it. Just all of it is part of, all the components make a change in society. So, you know, it should all be focused on. Yeah. I'll put the link in the chat.